It is February 11th. I took a big dive last night. I was a top stack at a 9 player table in for top stack, big stack of chips. And one guy was a holy goddamned terror. I don't think I tilted, but I called a jam from him because he was all in every other goddamned hand. And I was the only one who could fight back without going completely out. And he had a pair of queens. My nines did not hold up, but oh my god, he was a holy terror. He was just screwing up the entire tournament. Like I just was like, good god. So I did not win last night. I'm a little bit down, meaning numbers wise, money wise, but I think it's just part of the variance. I've been consoling myself by watching Lex's tournaments and things online and realizing that he runs into the same stuff. And I could not force a hand to hold up at all. Rough, rough stuff. I just keep working at it, keep building as best I can. I've got a 27 player. It's about half full, I think. Yeah, we got 16 out of 27. So I love I'm learning to, just like last night after that brutal bust out after being top stack, sit out, take breaks, go take walks, go exercise, and get my head clear before I get back to the table like I am today. It's been interesting to continue to play, find kind of profitable edges, certain situations. Still trying to iron out when to play aggressively, when to sit back and be more conservative. But it's lots of fun, and I admit it's a bit challenging at these tables because of the looseness that some of the players will play at. It's really difficult to figure out what sort of hands they're playing and what position, and sometimes they make mistakes. At another tournament, I deleted where it was a 27 player. I played really well. I had an okay stack size, 3K, something like that, meaning I had doubled up once. And I made a normal bet with a pair of queens. The flop came down, completely inconsequential, though somewhat connected potential straight draw. Made a pot sized bet, and the guy jammed all in. I've got a pair of queens. He's probably on some kind of flush draw. He could have some hand that potentially connects to, like, if it was a 5, 6, and a 7, he might have a pair of 8s and an open ended, something like that, something along those lines. But again, I deleted the recording. So call. And the guy had a pair of 8s. And I'm like, okay, queens over 8s. And what falls at the river? An 8. And I go, that's it? And it's like, yes, that's it. Your entire chip stack was resting on queen, queen. He was having none of it and decided that his 8s were good. And that is what we call variance. I think I ran it the poker odds and it was like 20%. In fact, I'll pull that up real quick second. list it off to you. I ran the odds just to see like how that stacks up. 8-8 to queen, queen. So one, I'm 80% gonna win pre-flop. Pre-flop, 80% of the time, I'm gonna win that hand. And then if you give it some crazy flop like 7, 6, 4, 75% of the time, I'm still gonna win. I jammed in afterwards, and he has, I figured, some sort of straight draw, and he did. He did have some sort of straight draw. But I bet the pot, he jammed all in, and I go, okay, we're both all in. He's got a pair of eights, I got a queen. Long as he didn't hit a 5. And what's he get? Oh, yes. So let's give it another card, which is random, which is like, let's give it like a 2. There we go. So now, after the turn, I'm all in, by the way. After the turn, I'm 90% of the time going to win. He has a 10% chance of drawing a card that's going to beat me. And how do you respond? Well, I was crestfallen, but they go, hey, nice hand, man. The challenge is I need someone to play against me and draw 10% of the time, because that's where 90% of my winnings are going to come from. And here we go at our 27-player tournament. Get this set up here. Root. There we go. And we shall resize. See if we can get this just right. And there we go. I flatted ace 10. I have nothing that connects to this board and no desire to keep going. This is our 9-player, and this is our 27-player, by the way. But I had a good hand and I lost. Yeah. But the guy just jammed in with a pair of 8s. Yeah. I mean, we rely on people playing a hand like that and losing 90% of the time. That's where our profitability comes from. Potentially problematic. Does number 6 there a jack? And it sucks when you lose, but you know, sometimes aces do hold up. Now, could I have put him in for more? Yeah, but it's very easy for him to have two pair or something else. It's very easy, that hand right there. It's very easy to forget that now. What do you remember? Man, I had a pair of queens and a guy jammed in with a pair of eights. It's like, I don't remember the 20 hands that I won because I had better cards than the other guy. I remember the one time I get my ass handed to me by somebody who's like, I've had enough of your shit. Here's a pair of eights. There is something about poker that is it so philosophically it fits a certain mental set for me. I've never gotten the limit. I've never gotten a pot limit Omaha or other games. I don't even really particularly have interest. Maybe I'll deal with other poker players who will set me straight otherwise. No limit, almost with that moneymaker effect, is anybody can sit down and statistically over time, everybody's dealt the same cards. But how you play them makes you a winner. That's the thing that keeps me coming back. I draw philosophical and entrepreneurial components out of the practice. Situation, position, leverage, angle, bet sizing, bankroll management, hot odds, statistics, psychology, emotions, playing the player, not the hand. When it starts to feel laborious, I'm like, it's a game. Like, if you don't enjoy it, why are you going to keep playing? Take a break. Go do something else. Go do something else for a couple days. Is it fun? Can you have a sense of, yeah, I lost a buck or $2 or whatever it was. The guy jammed a pair of eights. It's like, yeah, you lost $2. You did not make the final table because he decided that this was his hand, this was his domain, and he was going to make you pay to see another card. And you saw them and you lost in glorious fashion. There are nights where I feel like I take a first place and it's like strapping dynamite to my body and running through a minefield and surviving. Because they play loose, man. Like I doubled up right here because of a pair of aces, and this guy had king six. What if he had jammed? What was I gonna call? I hate to say no, but based on that board, there's a whole lot of holdings he could have had that beat me. Doyle Brunson talks about that. Know when you're beat. But I got trip eights. Okay. But does he have trip nines? Know when you're beat. Can you let a hand go for a better situation? Now this screams I have a 2. And that was nice. You did have your draw. Doesn't always work out. It sucks when it doesn't work out, but you limped in. I called a miracle too. I decided to make you pay And you said, I'm going to take all your chips if my diamond flush draw hits. And it did not. Now, is that guy somewhere bitching and moaning? I can't, I had, what did he have? He limped in under the gun. Let me catch a 2. Called a post flop bet. I jammed it. He called for his entire stack with a king and a jack. He could have drawn any diamond. I would have only had 1,000 chips left. But if you want to play at those odds, I made him play. Just like the guy with the 8s. He decided that God was with him. God loved him, and this was his hand. This was his tournament. Fuck you. Did I think he had an ace and a 2? No. I mean, he could have. But for $1, I was willing to take that risk. But I limped from early position, allowed the guy to catch a random 2 and beat me. How long am I going to spend bitching about my queens not holding up? Sometimes in poker, queens don't hold up. But I had the nuts, and the guy drew out on me. And I'll mention this hand. I need to run this through a poker emulator. Like, I need to load the hand in and let the hand play this out so you can see it. It was the most glorious. And we talk about bad beat. Oh, this is a bad beat. Like, I've had other hands where I'm like, oh, the guy sucked out or whatever on a card. Like, this was a fucking bad beat. Like, if there's ever a hand where a guy was like, dude, what the... It was bad. I had ace jack suited. We are about to go to the final table. I bet. The guy in the big blind re-raises. I flat call. My ace jack suited, king 10 10 fall at the flop. And I go, oh my God, a king and a 10 is 2 hearts on the board. I have the nut flush draw. I have a royal flush draw. I have, oh my God, amazing. I jam all in, he calls. Now, based on what I just described to you, what do you think he had? I know poker a little bit better than I did then. I bet he re-raises. The flop is king 10 10. I jam after the flop. He calls. I might get a flush. He had a pair of kings. He flopped a full house. Kings full of 10s. My flush, unless I hit a royal flush, is not going to hold. And how many times do you hit a royal flush? I mean, it does happen, but let's be serious here. We're all in. He's all in. I'm all in. It's all in. Doesn't matter. I realize the error of my ways. He's got a pair of kings. I have ace jack suited. There's a flush draw on the board. My flush draw is already beat. I had no idea what was going on at the table. The turn is a 10. And the river, my friends, is a 10. Which means there's 4 of a kind on the board. He has 4 of a kind. I have 4 of a kind. But guess what? I have an ace. I had to replay that hand so I could understand what happened. And go, that is I think I had like a 5% chance. There was a 5% chance that I could draw a card, either the royal flush or the four of a kind on the board to beat him. That guy had to be chucking shit out of windows. And it was just an error on my part. It was just a mistake. Would I play it the same way again? I might have a better idea now, but in the moment, I'm going to get a flush. I can have the nut flush. The nut flush does not help when the guy flopped a full house. King's high. King's full of tens. Well, my four of a kind ace high beats it. That runner was whew, brutal. I still to this day remember that hand. I was so like, wait, how did I win? I had to do the statistics and math in my head. I'm like, I don't understand what happened. I don't have the ace. You gonna bet? I still love talking about that hand. I would run that hand through so I could just see it because it was just hilarious. Ah, why not? I call it 50 chips. Do I hit an 8? No, I do not. Uh-oh. Are you in trouble, sir? You could have a full house. There was a pair on the board. Bad beat stories. Yeah, I said in my infancy when I was learning, Stephen Brust helped teach me the game and get me used to some of the statistics. And I used to go to him with questions all the time, which are very beginner bit questions. Well, I had ace jack, and this guy, did this and that and XYZ. And Steve would get frustrated because I was asking very rudimentary questions, and Steve would just say, yeah, I lost a hand once. And it was this way of teasing me, but it was also him being honest. I mean, yeah, if you get into a conversation and you're having polite conversation with people, I do this sometimes. Do we want to keep talking about things they don't want to discuss? Just telling bad beat stories. It's considered maybe sometimes kind of rude. Though you guys are hanging out with me online, you apparently want to hear my stories and see my little RG logo down in the corner while I take pots off. This got more interesting over here. If a 6 fell, I'm going to flat this. And that did not give me the card I wanted. I'll limp into here cautiously. Oh, that was pretty nice. Take a little pot. My hand did improve over here. Let me just min bet, see what happens. If you get any pushback, I'll let it go. I lost a hand once. Yeah, it also, again, Lex, if you ever see this, thank you for your poker tutorials and things. It really makes me feel better when I see you curse. See you get frustrated because it's like no hand, like your head's up with some guy and every hand he's got it. Every hand he's got it. It just never ending string of, the guy getting winning hands at a final table. Because you can't make the cards do what you want them to do. The cards just do their thing and you play along. Fold. Flat. I will check. Sometimes as big stack, you're still dealt good cards. I looked at this hand and I had to go, did I have a straight? Queen, Jack, 10. I literally had to go, Queen, it's counted off. Queen, Jack, 10, 9, 8. Wow, I had a straight. That's how good my poker skill is at this point. Have you ever bet on your straight and realized that you didn't have a straight? Wait, oh man, have you ever misclicked and won an amazing hand because you played utter garbage because you misclicked a button? Yes. Have you ever sucked out so bad that you apologized to, yes, to the other player? Trying to find new creative ways of getting myself into trouble, but flopping two pair and top two pair is not one of them. Until a queen falls to the turn and the guy to my left has king, queen, and he is tired of my shit. He has 10-9 or 7-9 and says he is frustrated. Remain calm. Remain calm. Conserve your chips. Think about what you're doing. You're limping in with king 9 suited at first. Well, but I'm top stack and the players are very passive at this point. There's not a lot of crazy jamming all in like I went out with last night because I had a pair of 9s and a guy had a pair of queens. And I was tired of his shit. Well, you're gonna lose. We know now. Hindsight is 2020. So what do they got? Got a stronger king. Got king 10, king jack, king queen on the big line. Got a club draw. What's happening over here? Got it. Any of the first 3 stacks, I'd put them all in with this. And here's where things get a bit more questionable. I kind of like that number 5 put it in for 3 times. I'm just gonna flat this because I can afford to gamble. If one of them jammed, do I want to call that? And I think so. And it did not hit, but oh well. It could be a very marginal holding based on their stack size. They made a sizable donation. Now, do they have it? So they said they have it. Now they're going to make a big bet, and I'll let it go. But I usually don't believe them. Now, the Jack 9 suited, was it a good play? I mean, I got a big stack. I don't have to play cards as good as the other guy. We'll bet here. And also, having that big stack, leading with some sort of aggression, they get a little frustrated after a while. I won't be calling with that. Got a flat call. That was nice. And again, I think that's worth a call. Not super excited about it, but is what it is. I mean, what are you gonna do? Fold? You got a pair? Who knows? You got a pair, right? How many times has the big stack whooped up on me just because they have a lot of chips and they can afford to continue calling bets, small bets? 2 times the big blind, and I will get involved. This is just the sort of odds I like. My ace 8. Sometimes they have the hand you're holding, or close to. And that's about as aggressive as I get. I think Lex is playing much better players. I would have way more problem figuring out playing those tournaments he's playing. Those players are going back and forth at each other in a fairly aggressive manner, which would make me question my holdings. I can see him comfortably bet just trash in the hopes of hitting a straight, having some sort of drawing hand, and sometimes gets a guy to fold, maybe sometimes with a better hand. That's a real challenge. You know, part of me wants to call, but I don't really think this is worth it. Even though I have a suited connector, I just don't. I'd rather wait for a better situation for that. Being big stack is nice, but I also have to have cards that beat the other guy. And I'm trying to be a little more cautious. This guy, number 7, is probably going to get sort of testy after a while. If he doesn't have anything, he's likely to let that go. If he hit, he's going to defend. And he did let it go from a min bet. And once I know to let it go from a min bet, what do I want to keep doing? Ooh, and that would have been a nice... If he would have come back at me, that would have been what might have been a winning hand there. Yeah, the table, we got an all-in. Small stacks being aggressive at each other. And this is interesting. I just checked this down. I didn't even realize I was still in this hand. Was not super excited to bet with that jack. Somebody could have a stronger jack in there with. So actually, I clicked fold, but this guy next to me is sitting out. I need to wait and see if anybody does anything before I click that and just let it go to a guy who's sitting out. If the 780 shoves, I'll call. At the queen and 5, this over here, somebody came in, so I'm gonna let that go. Over here is big stack. This is pretty nice. I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna limp here, see if they'll let me see a flop. It's okay for my hand. A little worried, but he might have a flush draw or a straight draw. Just check here. See how he bets it. Yeah, that's pretty good for a pair of jacks. I don't mind that. Doing real nice, real comfortable stack. No anxiety at this table. I am noticing, probably if I measure my blood pressure and stuff, I get super excited in situations, and I'm trying to remain calm, have fun at the table. If the small stack jammed, I would call that. If they got involved, I'd be much more cautious. Number 9 there. So they bet 2 times the big blind. I'm just going to let it go. A part of me wanted to call that just to taunt them for daring to do such a thing, but we're getting close to the money and I'd prefer to have a better hand. He's probably going to get fed up with my limping like that. I'll flat this. It's not bad for my hand. Let me check here. He could have likely hit something there. I'd really like a 10, but I haven't hit. It's too likely that he hit something, and again, I'd rather wait until I was more firmly established and ahead to be able to put pressure on him. The king did fall at the river, and I'm not sure that would have given it to me anyway. I'll flat this. I have enough of a stack to cover it. Do you see trouble lurking now? So particularly, I'm just going to check it down. And they drew. But I took a risk with the kings, hoping I could pull something out. Lost some chips, but not too bad. I was trying to draw just an absolute monster, of course, being in a situation where I could wipe someone out. But we're not over yet. This is particularly ugly. I'm going to min bet here. And my pair of tens, this is always problematic. I'm going to limp again. That's a really nice hand for my tens. Could have jack nine or something that beats me. Also, again, kind of sucks. The other table, let's see here. I'm going to just min bet here. Here with the tens, he could have a queen, but I think he's more likely to let this go after this bet. Yeah, I did have it straight. The other table, I'm just going to check here. I was pretty sure I might have it, but I was also a little disconcerted, kind of busy looking at the other table. I will bet here. And on this, I'll flat here. If he jammed all in, I'd probably let it go. Not a great hand. They both do that, and I min bet. Do they let it go? So getting pushback, I'm probably going to fold. Yeah, that's not bad. I feel pretty good about that outcome. Other table, they let it go to my bet here with ace jack. Sucked losing my kings earlier, but probably wouldn't have won much if I would have bet it normal anyway. Still doing quite well, a chip leader by far, but don't want to slip up and lose my lead. What do I want to do here? I think I'll just flat this and see. King, queen, depending on the flop, can be real challenging. I'll see another card. They had the ace. They could be on a flush draw. My preference would be that they min bet. Let me see another cheap card. I'll just check. Two pair. They could have jack 10, could have a flush. Depends on what they bet, whether or not I call. I mean, I'll just check this. Yeah. But they avoided losing, you know. I'll just flat this. They haven't been like jamming or anything, nothing crazy. They're probably getting sick and tired of me limping into pots though. That may be strong enough to min bet and get him to let it go. If you put up a fight, you know the drill. Weak kings. If you'll let me see it cheaply. Not too excited. King and a 9, you know, I'm just not super excited. I prefer to back off, just give him a little space. I can get overly attached to my hand, try to beat a guy out who's just got a better hand than me. And then over here, I'm going to min bet and see if he lets it go. If he puts a fight back, you know the drill. Over here, definitely going to bet this unless there's some kind of crazy action. I'm willing to lose half my stack with that. Let's see what happens. Other table, I'm going to fold 4-9 offsuit. I'll show that real quick. Did I let it go? Yeah, I just folded that. I don't particularly love calling with this, but he's pretty small. It's only going to take 1,000 of my chips. He could have a small pair of eights, something like that. Over here with a pair of nines, I'm going to limp in, and he did have a pair of eights, and I caught a jack just to get it straight. Yep. Oh, that sucked. That does happen. And this is looking pretty nice. I will be betting this. Jack and a 9 at the other table. I'm going to let go. I'm going to min bet this again. He's still coming at me. Could have Jack 10. I'm just going to min bet this and see what they do. And that was pretty nice. This other table, that pair of eights, that situation sucked, but I just think that's par for the course. That's just how we were going to play that. Yeah, it's got a, an actual bet here. I think I'm going to let this go and let him have it. I made enough off of my nines. I'll flat that. Mainly because I'm suited. If number 7 bets, I'm going to be hesitant to call. I'm going to fold 7-3 offsuit at the other table. It sucked to lose like that, but again, I mean, what do? The guy jammed, you got ace-jack suited. I thought that was a decent bet. Gonna get out of their way because they're about to fight it down over here. Unless you let me draw a king at the river, and you do not, so I will check. Need a decent hand where I'm big stack, man. I don't really feel like I've been limping everything because I'm just not catching anything I can lean on a little bit. He's unlikely to have a 9 or a 2, but part of me says if he checks, I should bet back, but I think just flat checking. Now this is a more interesting situation. I think I'll bet here and see if I get a lucky river card, which did not fall, and I will just check that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's good enough to call that. He was in the big blind. There's too many things he could have. His push back there doesn't make me feel comfortable. Love to see ace queen cap a dude playing aggressively with that particular holding. I am gonna bet here. I think four-handed, that's enough. Fold that. I got a jam from the small stack. Definitely gonna call. And he took it. For better or worse, they're about the same stack sizes. He's getting frustrated with my limping. This is more like me testing the edges than getting overly concerned. Short stacked after that ace jack, but what do you do? Fold 8-4, 9 and a 5. Not good enough. Some pre-flop aggression over here. Someone jam it. Someone get aggressive. Oh, sure. Now that I get aces, everybody folds to me where I'm in the big. This is going all in. Unless there's a bunch of free flop action, then I might sit and wait. This is a little disconcerting, but I'm going to flat here. Didn't particularly hit. Don't know what's going to happen over here. I don't have it. Let that go. And we're slow as molasses at this other table. Not really excited about my 6-7 there. Gonna just fold that. I hate not having a bigger, much bigger stack. You know, we lost our ace-10 there. So we had a limper with a big stack. That's going all in. See how that goes. Just don't have anything left to fight with. Over here, I had nothing. And if we bust out right here, it's because of that ace jack earlier, but you know, just is. If he was going to play eights, it's probably the right way for him to play it. Oh, I had a flush. Does it hold? Yes. Nice. Perfect outcome for that hand. That's awesome. It sucks for him, but builds my stack back from that 8 debacle. The debacle of 8s we ran into. Can you give me a pair of aces on the big blind again? Worth some action? Oh no, just a good, solid, standard bet. Do not make any sudden bets. Not super excited, but I did limp in here. Oh, interesting. So him betting back, I don't want to risk trying to draw to that 10. I think that's better to just let go. Over here, we've actually got a 2 times the big blind. I'm on the button. Jack 10 offsuit. This guy's pretty short. He's likely to go all in after the flop. Other table, let it go, run away. He chickened out and he ran away. My kicker just isn't very strong. I don't want to bet that and risk a jam. The other table, I folded queen 5, first position. Let's see a flop. I would like to see a river 8, please. Pretty nice. The other table, 1800, I feel pretty good about, having come back a little bit. Let me find out what position I'm actually in, because I'm in 8th out of 11. So we're about to hit the final table. I'm doing okay, which is pretty nice. Here, I think I can take a first. I'm not super excited, but I haven't actually bet anything in a while. I'm more concerned about number 7. If he jammed, I would probably call, but not super excited. Pair of 8s on the big blind. This will be interesting. Not super excited here. Got some real small stacks. Let's see what he does. Okay. I didn't have to make a decision about what I would do because they just let it go. Uh-oh. Somebody went out and made the money over here. Let's see. I will jam it all in like you think I am stealing, and you will call and lose. The other table, I have 7-4 offsuit. He bet 2 times the big blind. I'm just going to fold here, hoping this guy calls and loses. Not super excited, but let's see if he lets me see a flop. I've been leaning on him and leaning on him. I'll bet half the pot on that. So I'm gonna flat this. I'm not sure what's going on. Now I have straight draws and flush draws. I'm gonna bet again. Pretty nice. I did not know where I was at, by the way. I was a little nervous about that. And the king hit at the river. I would have had a complete air ball. I'm going to bet here. This is enough. If 7 gets involved, it's different. But number 5 jams, I'll call. The other tournament is on a 5-minute break. And let's see if somebody busted out over there, by the way. 11 players, so we're about to go to the final table. Gonna flat here. I don't know what the button is doing, but yeah, no, bet half the pot. There you go. Oh, 3 queens. Oh, that might win. I thought for sure I had that in the bag. Would like an 8, please? I'm going to flat this. That is not the card I was looking for, and I'm likely to let this go. Yeah, why not? And did not hit it. They did have the better hand. But what do? You play what you got. I don't like this, but I've got to do something. Nah, one out. It sucks to lose that way, but what was I going to do? I had king, queen, ran into a pair of queens, lost from that. The other guy just had a better hand on a trashy board. I don't even think I played that poorly. It just didn't work out for me. I've lost at a lot of final tables, and I wonder about my play at those situations. Like, did I do anything wrong? The king queen is just, you got a big stack. What do? You ran into a guy with a pair of queens and it trips. Well, this is poker. And for this, does somebody want to bust out? Because if he folds, let's see who wants to bust out. What are you going to do? Be patient and wait for the guy to call with ace 10? No, that's plenty strong enough. They are afraid to bubble. Now give me a pair of aces. It sucks because I was top stack, and I've done this many times at final tables and just busted out. And I think the variance is higher. So, like, the blinds are so big, and the hands you got to play, like, the pressure goes up, and there's a It's like heads up play. Why is it so brutal where you've got like a huge stack and you can't beat the guy? It's like they only have to take a hand or two and double up to like, really hurt you. So it's more statistically, I want to say it's more variant, like it's more volatile wins and losses. On that other table, I made 70 cents. It's like profit, by the way. It's like I got my buy-in back. It's like you're going to lose sometimes. Now, do I love this? No. Do I think unfolding that? No. And I think somebody else who's got a stronger ace can beat it, but you're going to have to bust out to see. I don't blame him for calling, but I don't fault how I played it either. I was either going to be a big stack or bust out of this tournament. And I almost hit my flush. And this is going in. It doesn't matter what they do. I hate to bust out this way, but and I'm happy to take the blinds. And if I catch anything, it's all in. It's the only thing to do. I'm actually a little surprised that AK called. There could be such a broad range of hands that I would jam that way. He's no doubt happy with his decision at the moment. Plenty strong enough. A prior action, I'll probably just fold, but if it folds to me, I'll jam it. No. The limp from 27 was something that I was maybe interested in continuing with, but after that jam, not as interested. But I had ace-5 suited. Well, yeah. Oof, what a river. What a river. Oh, yes. So 19 to 15, please fold. Now, I need a pair of aces. And I am bottom stack. Holy moly. I don't know what 16,000 number 25 has been doing, but somebody's been losing. And let's see. I think 5 is when the real money starts here. But if I get to position 8, yeah, if I get to 270, it means I make 50 cents. So I get my buy-in back. It's like, I only made 70 cents at the other tournament. It's like, yeah, but you're still alive, still playing poker, and you're not going to win every tournament. We don't document. Well, I say I don't document. I don't document every tournament, one. And then I'm not going to upload every tournament where I just sit there, fold, 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 and then bubble out and lose. It's like, that's no fun. Well, who wants to see that? Some people do want to see occasionally when I win something. That's more interesting for my social media than just me losing. Here's Robert playing horrible poker, doing nothing. I mean, I think this is it, except I'm not going to call. I'm short, and I didn't want to go through another series of blinds, but our first position jam, very wide range. Who knows? If he's not willing to lose $2, no telling what he could be holding. Could have aces, could have pair of twos. But he saved himself from the blinds. Now I need aces. All right, guys, wish me luck. This is not what I want to do, but we're not going to have anything after this. And 500 chips more, only 1,000. I get called by anything, and they got to actually take a little bit of a risk. We'll see who gets involved. It's very easy for me to lose here, but we did make a final table, and out of 9 players, what do I even make? I don't know. Did they fold to me? Oh, you got to be shitting me. They let it go? Oh my God. I feel like a genius right now. Give me Jack 9 again. Oh, yeah, 216, you know. One more and I get 50 cents. Do I want to call with a pair of twos? Let's see what happens. And this is interesting because their stack is so small. I'd still have to go to the big blind after, but... Ooh, it is king. I needed 2, and it did not hit it. If he hadn't had such a small stack, I probably wouldn't have done it. We'll see what happens here. I mean, you just don't, you know, there's no wiggle room. If it folds to me, I'll probably jam it in against number 18, but likely there's going to be some action and I'll have to let it go. The next hand I do have is just all in again. And this is the thing about holding tight. Like, I can hold tight, let other people jam in and try to survive. But the reason I jammed ace 5 is like I'm trying to double up so I can actually get somewhere so I can win. I don't like playing this passive thing. If it folds to me, I will jam all in with this. I'm not calling with it. Call that man. The blinds are so big. Does not matter what happens. All of you could jam all in. I'm jamming all in. And I'm certain that number 25 is horribly afraid of this. Does not know what's going on. Man, this is bullshit. I lost like 4 cents. You guys have fun. I hope you enjoyed our poker today. We had very, very small wins. I think, let's see. So 216, it was 220 to buy in. So I lost 4 cents there, but I made 70 cents at the other table. So I'm up 66 cents. I won't store all my winnings in one place.